But what do you reckon you're gonna do?
I don't know, man. I'll probably end up signing. I just don't want to give in so easy.
Man, it's the same bullshit they tried to pull in my day. You know, if it ain't that piece of paper, some other choice they're gonna try and make for you. You gotta do what Randall Pink Floyd wants to do, man. And let me tell you this, the older you do get, the more rules are gonna try to get you to follow. You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Lake Tomahawk, Wisconsin, you've tuned into the Badfish radio show, powered up by Sloan Media. Pull up a chair, crack a beer, and get ready for some random hunting and fishing talk, mixed in with some pop culture and offensive rants. Now, here's your host, Jason Sloan.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Badfish radio show, or episode 71. We're going to have Mark Lijewski on here, one of the original Badfish guys from back in the days of Badfish Outdoors. We're going to talk some tournaments, some local fishing conditions, all kinds of good stuff, and make our way to the forward-facing sonar debate, which is kind of one of the hot topics of the day. First of all, let's give some shout outs to some of the people that make this possible. Dock Shop over there in Woodruff. Anything to do with docks, they got you covered. Installation, uninstallation, is that even a word? Deinstall, uninstall. They do it all. DockShopWI.com, and then Bushwood Tavern. One of the area's best fish fries, if not the best fish fry, up there just north of Woodruff, about 10 miles. Check them out on Facebook at Bushwood Tavern. JDS Construction, 715-892-1497. Remodels, decks, all kinds of stuff. Interior, exterior paint. We get it done, and then let's throw one out to Dragger Design. Interior, exterior paint, stain. Get a hold of them. So let's see if we get Mark on the line. All right, everyone. After a long layoff, we get one of the original Badfish guys back on, Mark Lijewski, and everybody likes to hear from him. Obviously, Mark, how's your summer treating you?
Oh, it's been good. Been really busy. Working a lot, fishing tournaments a lot. You know, same old, same old.
Where are you guys working right now?
We're building a house on the Comus, and then I got another one to build over in Eagle River. So we're trying to get them all under cover before the snow flies, which sounds like it might be a little early this year.
Yeah, I hadn't heard one way or another what they're calling for that. As long as we have a nice September. And
I saw a really cold, wet fall and really snowy, cold winter. Just from the Farmer's Almanac the other day, actually, it came across.
Yeah, I suppose we're probably due for one, unfortunately. I don't know. I really, other than the winter sports and the winter money it brings in, I really enjoyed last winter. My daily life was a lot easier with no snow.
Yeah, no doubt. It wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't bad.
Yeah, so you got any fall trips, fishing or hunting planned?
Oh, I got the PMT. I got Leech coming up next weekend, and then PMT after that, and then the PMT Championship. And then I'm debating on possibly going up north for a fishing trip, but it's just so hard to do, hunting and fishing. You kind of got to pick one. And usually by the time fall rolls around, I'm ready to go hunting. So
Right. Well, I hear you there. Now, how much have you been fishing locally much this summer, or not too much? Or
not a lot. No, I was in Canada for almost 2 weeks. I had Madison in June. We went down to Kentucky a little bit, but not much. Like I said, I've been concentrating, more on north and heading out west, and targeting some bigger fish.
Right. And did you get over to Green Bay at all this spring?
Yeah, we did walleye fishing. It was pretty good. Traveling that far, it's always the weather. If you don't hit the weather just right over there and the water temp, so you kind of got to be there, even like 4 or 5 days in a row to really hit that peak bite. It seems like, we did good, but it's like every time we went there, the wind was blowing wrong, or the water was warmer or cooler than what we expected, and only going there for a day, sometimes it's hard to get on like a really, really good pattern. It's nice to have 3 or 4, and that's hard to do sometimes.
Right. Yeah, we're looking forward to getting back over there this fall for some salmon over there on the other side of Door County over there. And that's another thing, like you said, to really do it right, you've got to watch the weather and be able to go for 2-3 days, because we've had it there with those salmon where we really hit them one morning and the next morning is basically the same, and you don't. It just
exactly.
Just had to kind of be there for it, like you said. Now, locally, have you noticed? And I've been asking a lot of people this, and I'm just wondering if it's me, but does it seem like there's more people here than there usually is?
There's a lot more people here than there usually is. The last couple of years, it's been awful. It's just it's like overwhelming. I know a lot of the businesses up here and business owners, they all say that, we're appreciative of the business, but it's getting to the point where it's like overwhelming. There is just like, I've never seen an influx of people up here like this before. It's like every weekend looks like 4th of July week. 4th of July weekend was always busier that week. And it's like every weekend is like 4th of July weekend now, and building, I'm seeing so many more people, building houses up here, building second houses up here, and like even moving up here permanently. They just want to get out of the city. Especially the way the Democrat cities are run, obviously they want out, but they're bringing their city stuff up here, which isn't really nice. I'd rather just see them up here for a little bit than leave again. But I'm tourist sometimes. I go down to Key West and I go up to Canada. I play tourist a little bit too, but man, there's been a lot of people here.
That is certainly what it seems like, and we've said over COVID, a lot of these people learned that they could work remotely or were able to adapt their job to being able to work remotely. And so they can come here for a longer stay or they come permanent. A lot of them, after what went down in the cities and stuff, they want to get rid of their house in the suburb, come up here, take that money and remodel or expand on their summer home or buy a place and stay. And I certainly don't blame them for wanting to get out of there, but it's almost not meant to handle this many people up here. And I've had people ask me, is it really busy on the weekends? And what it turns out to be, it's just as busy during the week in town. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. Where you usually saw the traffic backed up on Sundays. Well, now it can be backed up just any day of the week.
Right. So yeah, it's crazy how many people are up here now.
And I've also talked to guys fishing the chain, just action fishing out in the mornings, getting out. It was always, if you could get out at 5 a.m. And fish till 8 or 9, you were usually all right. And now they're saying that even that early, they're almost getting run over by, the recreational watercraft and stuff.
All right, yeah, it's just too much. I don't know if our lakes and that can handle the pressure. I talked to a lot of people doing fishing up here, and same thing. It's just unbelievable, the amount of pressure. And our lakes are small. Our lakes are not very big compared to, the bigger bodies of water that can, take a lot of pressure. Ours, I think, are a lot more fragile. And I think lakes can get burned and fished out like fairly rapidly up here. And so something they got to hopefully pay attention to.
Well, that was one of the things that we'd always talked about, was how they'd said that the crappies went on a cycle, or for instance, and then we were kind of talking how we think that cycle is human induced. Word gets out that there's a lot of crappies. Well, everybody goes there, fishes them out, and then it's dead for a few years, so no one goes there, and then it comes back. So it looks like a 7-year cycle. The one year, I remember, this is probably 10 years ago, people were talking about Little Arborvitae, and I heard from a dozen people, randomly different people, about how many crappies were in Little Arborvitae. I'm like, well, that's not going to last long. Everybody in town knows about it. And so that's, I think, kind of how that rolls with the crappies. And now, obviously, the bass are doing just fine. But other than that, if a guy wants to go fish multi-species, you can still do pretty well. But let's move on to kind of the topic of the day. The forward-facing sonar debate is kind of the talk of the fishing world right now. I have friends and contacts with Bassmasters, and then obviously the National Walleye Tour. And yeah, I mean, it just is the talk of the day, and I kind of wanted to get your opinion. I've listened to some guys like Pete Mena and Scott Keeper and just Larry Ramsel, and there's different guys weighing in on it and talking about the muskie side of it here. So that's kind of why we wanted to have you on tonight, to kind of get your opinion on forward-facing sonar in respect to muskie fishing.
Well, obviously, a guy like me, I'm against it. I think it's a detriment to not only muskie, but basically almost every species. And the name of it alone, forward-facing sonar, I said this a few months ago, like it's not sonar. I would not, I don't know how that label got. To me, it's almost like the industry labeled it like that to make it sound a little more fish friendly. But it's really not a sonar. I mean, it's live imaging. You see things in real time, and I don't know. I think it's pretty. It is a dangerous tool. It is a dangerous weapon. I've seen it firsthand, and man, oh man. I think it's really going to put a hurt on a lot of different species of fish. It's very, very effective. You can find, especially muskies. I mean, you basically, all you got to do is drive around and watch your screen, and you can see these fish from 200 feet away. And you can tell how deep they are. You can tell exactly where they are. And, basically you just cast at them. It's called, they nicknamed it sniping. Where you can just basically, watch your bait land right on top of these fish. And a lot of times, those deeper suspended fish, you get a erratic bait following right in front of it. In my experience, I fish deep, 8, 9 times out of 10, you get a bait in front of a suspended fish, and especially a muskie, it's going to bite it. It's going to make some sort of reaction towards it. So, with that being said, I don't know. I think it's, the numbers are astounding of what I've heard and what I've seen firsthand with forward-facing sonar. I got a good friend of mine that spent a guide up on a lake I fish in Canada for 30 years, and there was a group of guys up there a few weeks before I was there, and they had caught 28 muskies over 48 inches in 6 days of fishing, all forward-facing sonar, all sniping.
Wow.
That's bad. I mean, that is bad. Hey, don't get me wrong. Would I love to go out and catch that many fish in a week that big? Absolutely. But, driving around, just looking at them, not even casting, aimlessly just wandering around through the basin or deep shore or wherever. I mean, it works everywhere. And looking at a computer screen and seeing a fish and cast that, I mean, to me, that's just not like fishing,
Well, one of the things about the muskie was, and people can kind of disagree with me here, but it was kind of the lore and the legendary, this stuff with a muskie was, I don't know, it wasn't about kind of getting this type of an advantage. And I don't want to sound like, a hypocrite either, because I actually want to get out and use this stuff and learn about it and see it in action. I haven't, and I want to go use it. I think it would be fun for some stuff, and because there's other stuff like learning the lake, learning structure. Obviously, this can be really abused. And why don't you share with us? You told me a little bit about it yesterday, about your trip to Canada this year and what you kind of saw.
Well, so we were out there, and it was our last day of the trip. I was up there for about 12 or 14 days, and it was tougher fishing than normal. We had to work pretty hard. We were fishing 14, 16-hour days for a few bites, and definitely would seem like a tougher year. And so we went to an area of the lake that I know well, and going for one bite, going for a big one. I had caught a few big ones over there, and we were basically just going, for one bite to kind of end the trip. And we got over there kind of early in the morning. I went through this one area, and there was a boat, and they were doing their thing with sniping. 2 guys in the front of the boat with, rods, another guy just driving the boat around, and their heads glued, looking down at the screen and just looking for fish and wouldn't even cast. I see one. So we kind of drove by him. I didn't really want anything to do with it. Like I said, obviously I'm not for it. And I'm like, well, they're just a bunch of dipshits anyway. They're not going to catch nothing. So I went to one of my first couple spots, and, lo and behold, about an hour and a half later, here they come down the shoreline kind of in front of me. out deeper than I was fishing. And all of a sudden, they're driving around. One guy's standing in the boat, the other two guys are sitting down. The one guy's just driving nice and slow, going back and forth. And all of a sudden, the boat stops and the boat turns, and the guy, one cast, hook a fish, catch it. And I was only a couple hundred yards away from you, and they were pretty excited. And saying how it was way over 50, and we saw him tail out of net, and it was well over 50. I mean, it was in the 53 to 55 range. It was a very, very large fish. And they measured it, took their pictures, put it on Facebook, whatever, and they put it back in the water. And definitely disheartening, seeing that after I'd worked all week, and we, like I said, we had kind of a tough go at it. And we're like, well, whatever, let's just keep fishing. And we kept fishing. They start working down the shoreline again. They didn't even go 50 yards, I would say, and the damn boat stops again. Guy takes one cast, they get a 48. We just heard him measure, and it was a pretty calm day, so we could hear him talking and stuff. And they got a 48. And me and my buddy are like, you know what? I really don't want to watch this anymore. Let's just go across and we'll go fish another spot. So we went and fished another spot. Moved a couple fish that day, but it was really slow, and for us anyway. And we saw them again probably about 3 to 4 hours later. And this time they were a little bit further away, probably 300 yards away from me. But again, it was still like really calm. I was basically flat calm. And, same routine. They drove for probably 50 to 100 yards when we saw them. Boat stops, turns a little bit. Guy takes one cast. They had another. The guy blurted out 53 or 52 or something. I don't remember exactly. But another large, super large fish. And it was shocking. It's like, holy Christ, we watched them fish. Well, not fish. We watched them basically drive around with this thing. And in less than 20 minutes of me watching them, they had 2 mid-50s and a 48-inch fish, which in anybody's world, that is a phenomenal day. Now, that was 20 minutes. And I know that boat was out there all day. We could see them, way over here, way over there. They fished all day, so I don't even know what they caught in a day. But with that track record, I mean, they obviously caught more than 3. I didn't see every fish that they caught. And where I'm fishing is a very difficult area of the lake to fish. You're lucky to see a fish over there. You're lucky to get a bite over there. And it definitely was very concerning, actually seeing it firsthand. I've heard about it. And, up here, it's been very effective. I know a couple guides up here that they use it constantly, and their numbers it's staggering. And not just for muskie. I'm talking walleye, crappies, muskie, the whole 9 yards. And like I said, I think that type of technology is catastrophic. I think it's going to ruin fishing in area lakes. I mean, I just don't think the fish can withstand that abuse that they're going to receive from this, because, I mean, you're basically, to keep up with these guys, you're going to have to do it. I think that's kind of where we're at with it right now. So I think it's something most anglers that are serious about fishing and serious about protecting the sport, protecting our fisheries, it's something that really needs to be looked at. Because like I said, I think it's bad. I think it's really bad. So it's going to be a topic up in the near future, I think, in the next year or two. And I know Canada, and I'm actually one of the guys doing it with another guide up there. We're working to get it banned on some lakes up there. And the one lake we talked to, quite a few different resorts. Every resort is for it. They don't want to see it up there. So we're hoping, to kind of, get the ball rolling. And I'm sure we're going to ruffle some feathers. But, I mean, people got to think about more of the fishery than their photo shots up on Facebook or for their guide service or whatever. And I think that's what people are going to concentrate on more than anything else. Because I think it's bad. And I mean, this just started, Jason. Can you imagine in 2, 3, 4 years from now, the technology that's going to be there?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things is like, where's this going? This is in the infancy of this. And it's the difficult question is how do you curtail this or limit it? I mean, obviously in a tournament setting you can, and for the most part the general public doesn't care about a tournament because they don't fish it. It's a very small percentage that fish tournaments, but the general use of it, and in hands of guys like you or I or our friends, we're not going to damage a fishery with it. As far as, I mean, you catch too many muskies. I mean, your thing of delayed mortality goes up the more muskies you catch. And if you're pulling them out of deep water, something like that. But as far as maybe moving these panfish limits, which probably should have been moved a long time ago, and some stuff like that. And then obviously going back to on these tournament trails like Bassmasters and the National Walleye Tour, if you don't have forward-facing sonar and are very proficient in using it, you can't even compete. You aren't even, and there's several guys on the Bassmasters Tour that I know that they could do just fine without it. And they've adapted to using this, and they're very effective with that. Now you go to the National Walleye Tour, some of the old guard there, they're not even relevant in the conversation anymore. No. They aren't even, because it was the whole thing. You'd go out, like you'd said, about reading water, reading moon, reading all this stuff, the weather conditions, and it's like, okay, the bait fish, it's going to be a trolling bite, it's going to be a slip bobber bite. Now the National Walleye Tour is 100%. Anybody at the top of any given tournament is forward-facing sonar, casting lures made specifically for forward-facing sonar, or casting jigs, all this stuff. I don't think that they've sold any lead core to these guys in years, in a couple years now. So,
well, that's kind of the point of it. You know, all the knowledge, like I've been fishing for a long time, and like you're talking about this older generation that fishes tournaments and stuff. It was all based on knowledge and skill and learning the lake and learning the species. Now, you don't need any of that. You do not need any knowledge. You can be the dumbest fuck in the world, have this installed on your boat, and drive around till you see fish and cast at them. That's all you need to know. There's no more moon phase. There's no more learning the structure. Oh, are they in the weeds or on? You don't have to do any of that anymore. It's gone. It's useless. Why waste your time? Go on the water, drive around till you see what target species, whether it's walleye, muskie, crappie, whatever, and cast at them. That's it. You're done. I mean, it takes the average, the poor fisherman, and turns them into a better fisherman that doesn't even have the stuff like me or anybody else. You know. And that's the major thing of it. And what concerns me, and I've seen it with my own friends, you know, say, you said a little bit ago that it doesn't hurt, you know, me, like I'm not going to destroy a fishery or you, whoever, but that's kind of wrong, because what happened, I've seen it with friends of mine that have gone with other friends that had it. So these people are very average, some are poor fishermen. I mean, I'm not knocking them, but they're not in the water as much as me and other people. You know, they don't do very well fishing. Now you put this in their hand, and they go out and they use it and they learn how to use it, which it's not rocket science. And now they're catching fish like they never caught before. So, I mean, what are they going to do? You think they're going to let all those fish go? Hell no. They're keeping them. I mean, I've got personal friends that have done it. I've seen it firsthand, where all of a sudden he's sending me fish. Oh, my God, I got my limit of bluegills today. The guy's never gotten a limit of bluegills in his fucking life. And all of a sudden he's got a limit of 10, 15 bluegills. And driving around with, forward-facing sonar. I found them. And we just cast it at him, and we followed him around. It's like, yeah. And I mean, there's another guide up here. He's an older guy. The guy can't fish with a fuck. He's a total moron. He never was a good fisherman. And he brags about it right on his guide page on Facebook. And, oh, yeah, we just went and found him with forward-facing sonar today. And every day he is on certain bodies of water killing 20. Oh, we only kept 20 today. Only 20. You know, we caught 30, but we only killed 20 today. And it's every fucking day that he's doing this. And same thing with walleyes. He never caught walleyes this before in his life. And now you just drive around until you find them and you have your clients cast on them. It's that simple. There's no more learning a lake, learning the pattern. All that, like I said, all that's gone. And it can take a very poor, average to poor fisherman and turn them into, better than a professional, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And like I said, it's bad because, like I said, those type of people, I think we talked about last night, but like deer hunting, I love deer hunting. I've killed some nice bucks in my life, but it is very, very hard to kill like a big buck. Now, if I had some type of device or to go out and harvest, like I would jump on it right away, to go out and harvest like monster bucks. I mean, who wouldn't? And that's what I think these people are doing with this forward-facing sonar. They're very, poor to average fishermen at best, and also they got this, and I mean, you're unstoppable with it,
Right.
And I'm seeing like even local guys that feel like in the muskie industry, some of these guys have been guides like for literally, Jason, like a year or two. I mean, in my mind, you shouldn't be out guiding for muskies if you've been muskie fishing for a year or 2 or 3. I mean, there's no way you have the knowledge. But now with forward facing sonar, they're going out and they're catching 4 to 6 muskies a day like nothing. And they just drive around. Oh, client, here, take this dumb bait and cast over here. And it's cake. It's cake. The muskies bite it, and they're a hero. Oh my God, you put us on 650. You're the best guide in Wisconsin. And to me, that's not like guiding. That's not fishing. It's in a whole different ballpark. And I really think, especially on small lakes up here, they're going to take a beating. They're really going to take a beating. That open deep water is where, the forward-facing sonar are so effective. And, before that was kind of like the fish is like sanctuary, get away from people, get away from pressure, whatever. And now that sanctuary is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Actually, those fish are more vulnerable being out over deep water with that forward-facing sonar than they were before, and we could barely find them, So, yeah, it's a problem. The writing's on the wall. It doesn't take, me and you can talk about it all day. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that this is bad for our fishery, So, yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen with it. Like I said, I think it's really going to be a problem. And a lot of the really good fishermen, the older guys, a lot of the people that are really professionals and into the sport, whether it's walleye, bass, everything, a lot of the good guys I know think it's, they think it's a problem. They think it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and one of the things that I hear, like with most things, where they're going to say, well, these old guys, they just can't keep up with the technology. They're jealous. They're, or not jealous, but they're resentful of new stuff. And this is, they said this with, the first trolling motor and the first green box and the first mapping unit. Each one gave an advantage, but and the one thing I will agree with you on is with those other forms of technology, I don't think you saw the overnight, like Hulbert had talked about it a little bit, and I want to get his opinion on this too at some point, but where you didn't see all of a sudden where you go from catching, 10 muskies a season for some people to catching 50.
And that's what he just had. He said there was a couple, local guys he knows over on Clare, and he said they went from catching 50 muskies a year already up to 250 this year.
Wow.
And some guys that caught 4 to 5 50s a year are now up to 50 of them already this season. So that's the catastrophic change that thing makes. And basically it's going to get to the point where if you're not using it, and I'm not even talking from a competitive nature, but you're not going to hold a stick to what these guys are catching. And, a lot of these deep water fish are fish that come up shallow, that other guys catch or whatever. And that's not going to be there. It's not going to only just affect the deep fish, because I think a lot of people don't realize, crappies, walleyes, muskies, all those fish sometimes will spend some time in deep water.
Right.
And even daily make a movement from deep water up to shallow water. So once those deep water fish are stung, you're going to see the decline in the shallow water fish that you're able to catch also.
Yes.
It's really a catch-22 with this thing. And yeah, where does technology stop? I get it. I got side image on my boat. I got through gas on my don't get me wrong. I use it too. But I think we're getting to a point where the fish are not going to be able to keep up with technology. I've seen it in deer hunting, even in the deer hunting world. And they're starting to take steps because, the states have sought, especially some of the states out west, that actually give a shit about their deer population. Like, the cell phone camera alone has drastically changed the way people hunt, and has drastically put the ball in our court to, get a really big jump on these deer where it's almost like they don't have a chance. It's almost like they're on, they're not like safe anymore with these cell cameras.
Well,
I know guys that got a ton of them. They can pattern these deer on these cell phone cameras sitting at home on their computer, and they know like exactly, I can go kill this deer that day. It's almost like high fence hunting, and that's what I kind of compare the forward facing sonar to. It's almost like high fence hunting. You have these fish in a barrel with that sonar. You really do. And they're, like I said, they're very vulnerable. And, especially in this area where we got these small bodies of water. A body of water up here, a 400-acre lake, can get fished out in in the summer, not even the summer.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that brings up when you're comparing it with the hunting stuff and it's the concept of fair chase and a question of ethics with that. I believe that Boone and Crockett and Pope and Young. Now, I did not have the time to look this up, but I believe that Boone and Crockett and Pope and Young will not accept any entries that were taken by a hunter that was using cell cams because they figure that as not fair chase. And another thing, get this, I don't know if you've heard this, well, about the bear hunting. So had a guy tell me, I think it might have been Madrager told me this, I can't remember who, but so these guys that run dogs off of their own bear baits, they put out 6 8 bear baits, and then they run their dogs off. They have cell cams all on these bear baits.
Yep.
So guess what? You're sitting there. Okay, we've got bait number 5. Big bear was right there 10 minutes ago. Here we go. Load them up.
Yep.
Let's go. So
exactly. It's to the point where it's not fair chasing, right? And I think that's the tactic that the DNR has to use and say, hey, this technology, whether it's photo information, sonar, cell cameras, it's not fair chase anymore,
Right, because that's the whole, I mean, that's the North American model of game management was fair chase.
Well, and that's where these, all these damn activists, these animal rights people, all this bullshit, they're going to use that against us eventually. They're going to be like, what the fuck? Look at what you guys got. You guys are just killers. You're not even hunters anymore. You're basically a killer. That's all you are. And it's just way, like I said, it's just the animals can't keep up with it. The fish and the deer, they have no recourse to this type of technology. Like the fish have nowhere to hide anymore. They have zero area to go anymore and hide with forward-facing sonar. The deer with cell cameras, they have nowhere to go anymore and hide. You're going to know where they are damn near almost every hour, every day, especially if you put enough cameras out in the area, especially at attractive private land. I do know guys that have, private land, a fair amount of it. And I mean, some of these guys are running 100, 150 trail cameras, Jason, on piece property. They name their fucking deer, for God's sake. I mean, they know right where this deer is going 24/7. And yeah, it's getting to the point where is that ethical anymore? I mean, I don't think it is. I mean, do I use cell cameras? Absolutely. Do I use them like that? No. I hunt down in southern Wisconsin, 4.5 hours from here. So is it hard for me to go and hike up a mountain and check my trail card? Yes. Is the cell camera nice? Absolutely. Do I target specific bucks or anything? No. I like to see, I had a buck come through today. Cool. I don't even pay attention to when, the time, and hold on now. The only thing I pay attention to is would I shoot that deer? And that's about it. It takes some of the surprise out of it. And even you can compare it to forward-facing sonar. Same thing. It's taking the surprise, oh my God, there's fish right here, I'm going to cast at it. I mean, half of the surprise and half the excitement is fishing is that unexpected bite. Learning the area, figuring it out and making a cast and not knowing if the fish is there or not, then all of a sudden getting that bite. I mean, to me, that's probably 75% of the excitement, and that's all gone. I mean, with forward-facing sonar and cell cameras, I mean, a lot of that is getting taken away, and it's just really, you don't have to put in the time, the effort, the hard work anymore, even to make it pay off. I mean, I don't know those guys that were out there. I mean, do they even realize, how good of a day it is just to catch 2 mid-50s and upper 40s like that? I mean, to a guy like me and you, we'd be flipping shit. That would be an amazing day.
Yeah.
One of our best days, we've worked for our whole life to get to that point. And these dipshits that don't even have to know the lake, and I don't mean to profile, but like I said, I'm kind of against this, so you could tell. But they don't need to know the lake. They don't need to know anything. They basically just know how to cast a rod and look at a screen. That's all they need to know. That's it. You see the blob on the screen, you take a bait and you cast at it. It's just, to me, it's not fishing. It's not fishing anymore. I mean, PMT banned it right away. Instantly, and I do know through the grapevine there's a couple major circuits, and I'm not going to list or say who they are, but it sounds like in 2025 they're going to start banning them because their TV viewership is starting to hurt now, because there's basically a dipshit standing in front of the boat looking down at the screen, not even fishing. He's not doing anything except looking at the screen. All of a sudden he sees the fish and makes a cast. And a lot of the people that don't even fish a lot are like, wow, what is this? This isn't fishing. You know, I tuned into the show to watch these guys casting and making changes and figuring the fish out, and now they just drive around, look at a screen like a video game, you know? And, you know, so we're seeing more of it. We're seeing more of a, you know, even like 3 years ago, there was no really talk about like forward-facing sonar, like banning, you know, it was neat technology. I got one. I have one sitting in my garage. And it sat in my garage for 3 years. It will never be on my boat again. It never was on my boat. I think I took it out walleye fishing once in my boat. I mainly used it for ice fishing on Lake Superior. But other than that, you know, it's $4,000, $3,000 sitting in my garage on the shelf. That's it.
So, can I buy that from you for cheap?
Yeah, you can have the damn thing, unless I smash it first. Because if you start using it, I probably won't talk anymore. Just so you're aware.
Okay.
So,
But you know, some of the stuff, and then that kind of takes us to the other angle of something some of my philosophy on social media has really changed in the last 6 months or so, or the last year or whatever. But it's that catch at all costs for the hits, for the likes. And this social media, this validation that people need, and it's a unique human. It's this trait that humans have that it's for some reason. You know, now I get it.
Not all of them.
Well, no, but the stuff I post now is, you know, some stuff for my photography business. It's stuff to make money, and I get it where a guide is going to post photos. I get that, but this other stuff where what percentage of people posting photos or that guide that's, you know, kind of doing the stuff down by you there. It's like, why is he putting the lake name on that? What
the lake name, the bait, the depth, the structure, the whole 9 yards. I mean,
how is that an advantage to that guy to say that stuff? And I get it, posting pictures, you're a guide, but why are you giving away all this stuff? And then it wrecks it for other people. That was like the one guy down there, the guide that would be on the well-known big TV show here, that would, you know, just pump that place up. And it's like, man, you're killing it. Why would you do that?
Yeah, and then it gets fished out. And that's going to happen even more now, you know, when you throw technology in it too. But yeah, I see it all the time. These guys got to hold up a 33-inch muskie and put it on their Facebook page like right away. It's like, I mean, I catch a lot of big fish. I catch a lot of fish over 50 a year. I rarely do you see a picture from me. Very, very rarely. Once in a great while. But I just don't get any, I mean, I could blow people out of the water with pictures of fish that I have that I could flood Facebook with, you know, thousands of pictures I could put on Facebook, and I could make myself look like the best fisherman in the world in a matter of probably 20 minutes of all the fish I catch in the last 5-10 years. And but I just don't know. To me, it's just not like a big deal. I rather, you know, I enjoy more of the catch, and I mean, there is a shift toward keeping stuff secret. You know, back in the day, we got a good life. We didn't say a fucking word to anybody about it. You know, we wanted to keep it, call it selfish, but we wanted to keep it for ourselves. And we wanted to keep the fishing good out there so we could go there and catch these fish whenever we wanted to. And now it's like, oh my God, name them, you know, oh, I'm sponsored by this bait. So, I caught the fish on this bait. You know, I got a couple good friends of mine where I'm like, I've even said, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? This is like a hot bait that we are all catching muskies on. Why well, God, I'm sponsored by them. I'm like, so it's worth the fucking 3-4 baits you get a year from this guy. And now you pull the landing one day and you wonder why there's 10 fucking muskie boats there throwing the same bait you are. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense to me why people would do that, you know?
Yeah.
That would be like me giving up my best tournament baits.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, then it comes down to, there's a lot of the stuff is done for the wrong reasons. And I could look at who am I to judge why somebody goes fishing, but if it's, I don't know, and it's the same thing with the hunting, where really interesting new take on the hunting with people are recruiting people to hunt for the wrong reasons. Where now you've blown out these public places are shot. You take shows like the Hunting Public and Meat Eater, they've destroyed more spots.
The Hunting Public personally affected me in the worst way.
Yep.
I'll even tell you where and how and when. I mean, we were hunting and I was going in by water. I've done it all my life since I've been 12 years old. I've done it. I'm like, wow, I can get back to where other people aren't. This is a neat way to hunt. I can get away from people. I can target bucks and bigger bucks where no one is. And those dumb bucks, yeah, they plaster it all over the internet. And I was doing it, recently, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, I started doing it in a different area where there's some giant bucks. And I mean, Jason, there was nobody. There was nobody on some of these main rivers. And I'm like, oh my God, and we were just getting on stuff. I mean, I was finding rubs on trees at 9-10 inches in diameter. Yeah, and all of a sudden I really noticed the boat traffic of hunters. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? How come all these people are all of a sudden, doing all this? There was nobody here like a couple of years ago. Now it's like everywhere I look, oh, here's a boat with a bow on, or here's a boat. I'm like, what in the hell? And then someone told me, like, oh, don't you want to hunt in public? I'm like, well, no, who's that? Like, oh, they sent me a link and I watched the video. Like, oh, yeah, to get these big bucks and get away from people, you go in by water. I'm like, holy fuck, why? Why would you do that? Why would you can go on and on about it. And,
and I 100% agree. And there was something with the hunting public where they had said and you got to look up this podcast. It's called Hunt Quietly. It's with Steve Ranella from Meat Eater. It's his brother, Matt. What? And they've had a falling out. And Matt does this Hunt Quietly podcast talking about how social media has destroyed hunting. But anyway, getting back to the hunting public, there were state, like, fish and game departments, like I believe it was Alabama or Georgia, pays the hunting public to come down there and feature their public land turkey hunting. And it's driven the applicants to the point where people can't get tags anymore.
Right.
And
it's the bottom line. It comes down to money. I mean, all
absolutely.
These people it all comes down to making money. And, I bitch about the guides up here a lot. And, the money that the guides make off of our fishery, it's unbelievable. And it seems like it's gotten to a point where, obviously you can't outlaw it or anything like that. But it's gotten to a point where it maybe needs to be regulated a little bit better. Maybe in Wisconsin you need more than $40 to go get your guide's license. I mean, I don't know how many guides, but I think there's over 400 or 600 guides in Oneida and Vilas County. I mean, that is...
Wow. I wouldn't have guessed that many.
Oh, yeah. Look it up. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I've seen so many of these younger guys. I'm not knocking them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking them. I could guide if I wanted to. I chose not to. But they're musky fishermen for 1 or 2 years. Oh, I'm a guide now. I'm a guide. It's just like, wow, you guys really don't have a clue. And it's just, I don't know, it's just like out of control. It seems like it's, really getting to a point where I think we're going to see some major shifts in our fishing, especially in this area. Well, and I mean, I know scoping's already affected like bigger lakes in Minnesota, and we're going to see it. The technology has just kind of gotten here. I know in Minnesota, there's a few guys over there that kind of, they really got on it and they really started doing it a lot. And, it really got big over there. And I got a couple friends over there and they said, you wouldn't believe how it hurts fishery in our state.
Well, and I know a guy over there just got a giant, like, off the charts giant. I won't say lengths or names because I really like this kid. That's us getting old, calling a 22-year-old a kid. But anyway, giant fish that he would not have caught without it. And then that's also what you look at. Like some of the walleye guys say there's a NWT on Green Bay. Okay, if there's no forward-facing sonar, some guys are going to figure it out, and they're going to do fine, and they're going to probably weigh the same weights. Not quite this as this individual. I don't know that you could make an argument for the positive effect of forward-facing sonar on muskies. I don't know that there's any argument that can be positive for it.
There's not one for any species. If you think about it, there's really not. There's not a thing that you could say that forward-facing sonar is good for any species of fish in any way, shape, or form, as far as I'm concerned. If there is, I'd like to hear it. I would really like to hear it. The only thing good about it takes a very average or sub-average fisherman and turns him into a very good fisherman.
Well, the bass stuff, like Aaron Wiebe, from Uncut Angling, put out some videos kind of trashing the guys that are against forward, because there's some guys like, I forget how to pronounce his last name, but it's Randy, and his last name starts with a B, and I can't remember. But anyway, like him and Hank Parker and some of these guys have come out against forward-facing sonar. Well, and then Weeby goes and makes, but that's all on bass fishing. And like I said, with bass populations and bass, I mean, you could have a nuclear war, and the only things you'll have left is cockroaches and bass.
Oh, right.
So
and
that's
bass only takes a few years to grow.
Right.
Like 4 or 5 years, you got a decent-sized bass.
Right.
Muskies are a lot more volatile. It takes 20, 25 years to get to a trophy-sized fish, and I mean, let's face it, they're pussies. They are very weak fish, especially when they're older.
Of course. Yep.
They are very fragile. You handle them just right. I've had muskies die on me. A lot of people have.
Me too.
And they are a very fragile fish. I mean, the muskies always made out to be this big, mean, hard-fighting fish, and seriously, that's nothing further than a shoot. Yeah, they can put up a good fight, but sometimes that fight kills them. I mean, they are a very fragile creature. They're old. They're 30 years old. It's like a grandma.
Right.
They're I mean, you could compare like a 50-inch muskie like to a 7-year-old man. I mean, that you push him over and he's going to get hurt. And it's the same thing with a muskie. I mean, you treat them wrong, and they're hurting, and it can kill them.
Yep.
And I don't think people understand that with muskie fishing. I really don't. You see them flop around the boat and stuff like that, and I don't think people really have a clue of how fragile. Even a trophy walleye. I mean, I caught some 30-inch walleyes up in Canada this year, and I mean, they were on walleye jigs. They weren't even hooked bad, and we had a hard time. They were hurting. I mean, they were hurting yours, but they were old fish. I mean, you could see it in them. These fish were ancient. I caught one that was 32 1/4. And I mean, this was an old fish, and he came up like a wet sock, on a walleye rod. He fought a little bit, but they didn't know what it was at first. And we got him. I netted him in my muskie net, never even took him out of the water really. Unhooked him, took like one quick picture, measured him real quick, and put him in the water. And I mean, I had to give him a little bit of time and get him to go back down. He was not doing well, you know. And older fish like that, I don't think people realize how fragile that they really are. Right. So, it's going to be an interesting road. But I mean, obviously, I am a proponent against it.
Well, and so far it's been kind of cost prohibitive, to a lot of people. And I knew some guys that have been on this. They're panfish guys, and they're on the crappies, and they've been on this open water forward-facing sonar crappie bite for about 2-3 years, and they're like, thank God that every boat from the campground does not have this technology, because most days,
but they're going up.
Yes,
it's coming down.
Right. Well, that's like anything. It's going to get cheaper and cheaper, and the top end stuff will get more advanced, and that's what we said. Hopefully, they will start looking at and addressing some of these panfish limits. And lower those. But even that, like I've seen it where, but we're only taking 10 a day. Well, there's 3 of you, so you're taking 30 a day. That's still that's still not good. And then
it's like down here, especially because I live next to a good body of water, and I see the same 3 to 4 guides every fucking day. And I'm going to approach them because it's like, we got a lot of lakes up, you're on, but they seem to only be able to catch fish on this one lake. And they are down here every single day, keeping and killing fish over and over and over again. And I mean, this isn't even, I'm not even, someone has to do live scope, don't get me wrong, they use it. But, that's why I think with the guiding wise, hurting some of these waters up here, I mean, they just go here every day. Oh, but we only kept 20 today. But you did it all fucking summer long, And I mean, I'm guilty of it sometimes. I get on a good walleye biting in ice fishing season. And, we've kept our limits like a number of nights. And it probably wasn't good for lake. I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm perfect. But, we're not out there every single day in the summertime, the same lake over and over and over again. And I think that's really what the DNR's got to start looking at. I mean, like I said, the fish, it's a fact, the fish and the deer cannot keep up with technology. They don't have the resources like we do to keep up with the technology. No, and it's going to get to a point where, something's got to give.
At what point do you kind of have to err in favor of the resource? And I don't know how that's, I was going to kind of sign off with it, but, with what do you do? It's like the cat's out of the bag. It's like, how do you... I mean,
I don't know.
What do you do? I
think they need a panel. I think they need to get a group of anglers together. I mean, the way Wisconsin does things now is just half-assed. I think they need to pay attention more to the resource somehow. And, and address it like that. It's just it's definitely a slippery slope. But I mean, I'm the type of guy that would rather go out and catch a ton of fish because there's strict bag limits and strict size limits and limits on technology. I'd rather be able to go out and catch a bunch of fish rather than have every bag limit wide open and have the best technology in the world, because after a while there ain't going to be any fish to catch anymore. That's going to be the bottom line. You're going to have to choose between the two. And there's a fine line. I'm sure the DNR's got a hard time, dealing with that. I'm sure they do.
Right.
But, I've seen a lot of technology growing up. I've been fishing for 40 years now. I've seen a lot of different technology growing up. And, it came from sonar to GPS to side imaging, and then this, and boy, this seems like the straw that could break the camel's back to me. It really is to that point where it's like, wow, we got to step back and you'll think about our resource a little bit more. And, a lot of the pro scopers will say, oh, but it's catch and release, we're letting them all go. I get that. I get that you're letting them all go, but I really think, especially musky fishing, delayed mortality, you factor that in, where these fish actually have like a sanctuary. And, for these guys to go out and catch 8, 10, 12 muskies a day, and then the guy that doesn't have it, he doesn't have a chance in Puckett getting 10, 12 muskies a day. And they're out there pounding the water, making money off it. They're guiding, they're making money off it. Or their social media, their digital creation, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And they're making money off it. That's the thing that's kind of like, we got to take a step back and just see if this is ethical, and if our fisheries can withstand it, And me personally, seeing what I've seen, I just don't think it's in the ballpark that our fishery can handle this type of technology. So,
right, and
I guess my stand on it.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing that I hadn't really thought about exactly, but as far as making money off of a public resource, you don't really see that in a lot of, because like out west, you'd see where there was national forest land, and if guys would, they could buy a permit to run their cattle on national forest land because that's public, and they're making money off of it. So then they would pay a fee to to whoever per cow they ran on national forest land. But yeah, so it's but anyway, that's really got nothing to do with the forward-facing sonar. But yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what you do, and I don't know if there's anything that you can do. And it's not to say, because you hate to say, well, we just got to throw up our hands and give up. Or is there some kind of a limit? And I had seen this where you use that argument where they limit technology in basically every sport.
Oh, exactly.
And
Football,
yes, everything. NASCAR, there's a limit on technology or technological advances. And then I saw the one guy, because I looked up some different interviews with this stuff, and they're like, well, you can't compare the two. You can't compare. And these guys were talking in the realm of professional bass fishing. And they're like, well, you can't compare the two. You can't compare baseball not allowing aluminum bats and Bassmasters not allowing and I'm like, that's exactly the same thing. Why couldn't you allow that kind of a comparison?
Oh, yeah. And it's actually more detrimental. I mean, say you allow aluminum bats or sticky tape on your fingers in football or whatever. These players are going to hit the ball further. They're going to catch the ball, maybe a ball they shouldn't have caught. It doesn't really hurt anybody. It's not hurting anybody, really. You tell you honest got truth.
Right.
But now you have that same realm in the fishing world and hunting world. And, oh, yeah, it's not going to hurt anybody. No, it's not. You're right. It's not going to hurt anybody. But it's going to hurt the deer. It's going to hurt the fish. And it's going to hurt the fishery.
Well,
that's the big.
I would like to hear the guy that's, pro forward-facing sonar for everything. Because I know guys that are like, yeah, we're messing around with it here. We're not hurting anything. Fine. But the guys that are, oh, no, across the board, forward-facing sonar is great, all this stuff. I would like to know if they are in favor of thermal drone hunting for deer.
Right.
And
it's almost the same thing.
If they're not, then you're kind of being a hypocrite, because it's the same damn thing. That's the closest I could come up with was thermal drone hunting, because, okay, I see there's 5 deer bedded over here, probably does and fawns. Okay, here's a larger mark over here, bedded alone along this swamp edge. That's probably a buck. I know where he is. Okay,
it's illegal. It's illegal, isn't it?
I still got to go in and get him, because they're like, well, you still got to make him bite. You saw the fish. Well, I still got to go in and get a clean shot on that deer. And that is like the most illegal thing anywhere in all 50 states. You cannot even consider doing that. And they're even saying making thermal drones illegal for the recovery of a wounded deer because they're saying people are going to cheat. And while they're going, they'll say they're going to find a wounded deer and spot other deer. So
in Wisconsin right now, not many people know about this, and this is true fact. This is law. In Wisconsin, you cannot use a drone to go find a wounded deer. It is 100% illegal. If the deer is dead, to find a carcass, it's legal. It's a very, very gray area, which I know.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow. It's there because you don't know. I mean,
right, you don't know.
Deer, you don't know. But it is illegal to look for a live deer with a drone. It is illegal. Much less you can't have a weapon on you, obviously.
Right.
But if you're looking for a carcass of a dead deer, it's legal. Yeah, it's a gray area, and I know they're fighting it. I know they're talking about it because they got to clarify. It is really a gray area. I mean, I don't. If you have a wounded deer, I mean, any means necessary to get it. If you shot it legally, I agree with. But like you said, is it going to start getting used where? And I know of a couple instances already up in this area where. A guy was looking for a deer with a drone and hired them, and they're driving out. He's like, "Oh yeah, look all the deer over here, look all the deer over there." And
exactly.
It's like, it's getting to the point where you gotta do something to protect our resources. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm against laws. I hate the fucking government. I'm against all that stuff, but I don't hate our resources. I want to be able to go out and hunt and fish normally and shoot deer and catch fish. I don't want to have to buy $50,000 worth of equipment and look at a computer screen in order to do that. And, that's where I'm afraid we're getting to. I mean, I got the means. I could put 7 live scope freaking things on my boat and do whatever I want. We just got to the point where me and a couple of buddies talked about, like, that's not even like fishing anymore, one of the pros in Minnesota, he's got 3 state records from live scoping. And now some people are saying, like, hey, is this a legitimate record now, the way that you did this and the way that you caught this fish by the live scope? People are starting to question it, like, that doesn't seem ethical, to do it like that. And he's got 3 state records,
Yeah, because like I said, if you look at it, if Boone and Crockett is not accepting anything because for fair chase, and then that brings that into question as far as being a record catch, if that would fall under.
I just don't know. I mean, it's a really, we are in a bad situation because if the states or DNR try to outlaw it, I mean, Garmin, Lowrance, Humminbird, I mean, they're going to hire lawyers to fight it, obviously. It's millions, if not billions of dollars in their pockets that they are losing. And, what do you tell the guy that just invested $12,000 in his boat with these things? Oh, you can't use them now,
Yep.
If guys want to use them for finding structure, stuff like that, that's cool. I got no issue with that. I know one guy that actually me and him had a conversation about just the other night. And we were talking about, I let my feelings known, and he told me, he's like, yeah, he goes, I'm against it too, because I do have one. And I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, I use it to run a weed edge, and I use it for this and that. He's not sniping walleyes, musky, nothing like that. I mean, I believe the guy 100%. And, for that type of use, it's okay, but how do you enforce that? It's impossible. It is literally impossible.
That's what I mean. That's going forward, how do you do anything about this? It's the cat's out of the bag. I don't know if, this conversation is, how do you, it's one of those things that's not enforceable.
They'd have to ban it. They'd have to ban it 100%. I think that's the only way. They would have to ban, like the live imaging. And I had a couple comments. I commented on Albert Post the other day about it. And I put a pretty vivid, post on there. You probably saw it, obviously I'm against it. And, one guy brought up, well, you got side imaging and use that. It's the same thing. I'm like, and it's not the same thing. If anybody was ever in a boat and saw the power of the forward-facing sonar compared to light imaging, it's night and day difference. It's not even the same ballpark. And I have side imaging on my boat. I use it every time I fish. I use it more than my sonar. My side imaging basically is for structure and running weed edges and rocks and stuff like that. That's basically what I use it for. Have I seen muskies on it? 150% I have. Have I caught muskies on it? with my side imaging? Absolutely. But here's the kicker. I was not driving around, not fishing, and not working a spot or looking, just driving for muskies. I was already fishing a spot that I had picked out that I thought was good, you know. I was already casting in that area where I even seen the damn muskie on the side imaging, you know, to begin with. And all the side imaging did for me was confirm my suspicion that, hey, I'm in a good spot and there's a muskie here. I think out of my boat, there's probably been 6, maybe, I guess maybe up to 12 muskies that were caught only due to side imaging. And would we have caught that fish without it? I would say almost all of them, yes, because we were already like fishing the area. You know what I mean?
Right.
We weren't like targeting that fish or looking for that fish with side imaging. And you don't see fish on side imaging like you do on forward-facing sonar. I mean, a lot of times, you know, you see those perfect pictures of a muskie on the internet. That is very, very hard to get. That fish has to be laying somewhere just perfectly to get those images. Those are very, very rare. A lot of muskies that you see on your side imaging, you don't even know they're muskies. You can't even tell that they're muskies. You know, there's a shadow, weird shadow, especially if you're on rocks or something like that. It's almost impossible. You know, you see all these images of these muskies with their fins and heads and stuff on the internet, and everybody thinks it's like that, and you can just drive around and find them, cast at them, and that is 100% false. You know, I get like 1, maybe 2 images a year of the muskie where you see its forked tails and its fins. You know, otherwise it's just a shadow.
Right.
And I mean, I'm out there fishing. I'm looking down at my screen a fair amount, but I mean, I'm more just running weed edges and casting and, you know, fishing like we used to fish, you know, kind of normal, you know, than looking down at a screen all day.
Well, I had talked to a guide buddy of mine over in Minnesota that said he could see, you know, looking for the follows. And I thought that was one of those things that I hadn't thought about. I mean, he told me this like a year ago, but I'm like, well, yeah. And he said he stopped telling clients that they had to follow because they'd freak out. But he's like, yeah, we can. And so guys are doing that too, where if it's dark water, they can watch, and if there's no follow, they just, you know, they don't figure eight. And
that's not right, though. We've seen follows. Don't get me wrong. I have seen follows on it, but man, that fish has to be just right, and it's got to be in that cone, and that cone is fucking small. It's not like it's smaller than you think. You know, we've done some experimenting with watching baits and, you know, trying to see baits and stuff, and geez, it's almost impossible to get that. I mean, we were in Canada, but there's a lot of fish in Canada. We only saw like 1 or 2 follows on side imaging this year. And we had other follows that we never saw on side imaging. We had other.
I was talking with forward-facing sonar. I was talking with that.
Oh yeah. No, it's like a blob. You see a red dot, it looks like an orb. You know, it's just like in there, and it looks like an orb. I mean, it's very easy. And the way the screens are set up, you know, you can see exactly how far away from your boat it is. You can see where it is. You can see how far down in the water column that it is. And then the other thing with that, you can see your bait. So you can watch your bait. You can see the muskie out in water. You cast. You can watch your bait sinking right towards the fish, and you can watch the fish's reaction. The fish will react to the bait, obviously. And if the fish is kind of neutral, not doing much, I mean, holy shit, you can start working your bait like a lot differently to get a reaction strike out of that fish. You know, normal fishing, you don't know when he's there. You know, you can't really tell him, see that. You know, that's the other aspect of that too. And then say the fish doesn't bite, you can quick reel in your baits, you know, switch baits and throw another bait at them and try something different with it until you actually get them to strike the lure. I mean, you know how muskies are. Sometimes they want a bucktail, sometimes they want this, sometimes they want that. But I mean, you got the right bait on and you can catch them. You know, I've tournament fishing, I've caught muskies in pretty tough conditions when other guys haven't caught them. And, you know, there's always seems that there's something, you know, I've said that all my life in tournaments, there's always someone that is going to be on them with something, even if you think they're not biting.
Oh, for sure.
There's always. So, I mean, you can see a fish and, you know, just, hey, switch a bait, follow them a little bit, switch another bait. You know, just keep casting that till the damn thing bites. And, you know, could you snag it? You know, could you cast at that fish and, you know, let your bait go over the top of it and sink past it and snag it? I mean, I'm sure there's a couple dipshits out there that do that. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, before we go here, so the PMT, it's still banned, correct?
100%. Tim was one of the first to do it. He actually called me about it. I know he called me. I know he talked to Ty Senate, a couple other the guys that have been there for a long time. And we basically told Tim that, yeah, if you're going to allow it, we're not going to fish anymore. I'm not going to buy $20,000 shit and compete like that. A lot of guys, and Tim had a vote on it. He was one of the first. I think he is the first actually professional tournament circuit to ban it. I believe Tim, from the PMT was the very first guy. And other tournaments are watching it, and I think they saw that it was a good thing, and I think they're going to follow suit. I wish he wouldn't have done it in the middle of the season. I mean, I talked to the guys that they caught like 10 or 12 muskies, and don't get me wrong, they're not bad guys. They're not bad guys. They did everything by the rules. They did nothing wrong. And I think they should have let the season play out, and then maybe ban it at the beginning of the following season. Because I know they were upset. And, I know a few other people were kind of upset about that. They banned it so quickly, in a season like that. But like I said, yeah, he was the first one. I do believe he was the first one, the first professional tournament to ban it. And some of the other ones are starting to take suit. I know there's a few tournaments already that only allow one transducer in your boat. And like I said, there's a couple big ones in the walleye and bass world that it sounds like in 25. It's rumors right now. I can't, promise you anything. It sounds like in 2025 that, they're going to start banning them, all of them, period.
Right. And, I kind of got my finger on the pulse of the National Walleye Tour a little bit, and I have not heard anything there. Right. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not coming down the pipe, but the problem is, like they've said, is, you follow the money, and if you've got major electronics companies sponsoring your tournament,
right.
Or you've got even like the National Walleye Tour, you've got Bass Pro Shops. Well, guess what Bass Pro Shop sells?
It's really a bad situation in a lot of different aspects. It really is. I mean, you do one thing, you're going to piss us off. You do one thing, it's going to cost us group money. You don't do it, it's going to ruin fishing. Where do you turn it? It's really a sticky situation.
Right.
It really is, and it's just like I said, seeing what I've seen up in Canada, then hearing about like I said, that one guy, they got I don't know if I even mentioned it yet, they had 28 muskies over 48 inches in 6 or 7 days of scoping.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's catastrophic to a fishery. And when I was up there, and we were, it was in the area that I fish. I talked to the gentleman, and it was in the area where we fish, and we were wondering too why we were struggling a little bit. Why we weren't. My buddies, I brought a newbie up there, and I had another guy. I had 3 guys in my boat, and every spot I pulled up, they're like, "Oh yeah, we always get one here. We're gonna see one here." And we didn't see one, or we didn't catch one. And the guy is like, what the fuck? You take me all these spots to say we're gonna see or catch one, but we don't see or catch one. And my one buddy was up there with me before, and he kind of like that. He's like, no, he's like, we usually do always get one here or see one here. All these spots that we're going to, and we weren't seeing the fish anymore. And, this was before the scoping thing, before I seen her, and before I talked to the guide up there. And I'm not wondering if these fish are picked off. I mean, muskie is not a fish that's going to, you're going to catch it one day, it's going to bite the next. They're very, when they get caught, it is very rare. And, I mean, you can talk to any muskie fisherman. I have rarely caught a muskie the same season. I've never caught a muskie that I thought was caught the same year. That had a big, I've seen them with the big white, where you could tell they're hooked, and they didn't bite. They followed and stuff like that. And I had a really good lake up here one time, and there was a million muskies in this lake at one time. It was unbelievable, the amount of muskies. And there was a lot of guys out there fishing. There was a group of guys that all knew about it, and there was probably 10 to 15 boats that knew about how good this lake was. And they were out there a lot. I was out there a lot. And, I seen them around there, friends of mine. And I'm like, hey, have you ever caught a muskie out there that you thought was hooked? He's like, no, every one I caught was like crystal clean. And, years after, all of a sudden you catch one, it had a black mark on its mouth that you could tell was like from the year before.
Right.
But, that's the thing with the muskie. It's not going to like bite. Once in a while you see it in magazines and stuff. Oh, I caught this muskie 2 weeks ago and stuff like that. It does happen. It definitely happens, but it's not like an everyday occurrence, So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I just know, I know I'm kind of against, I am against it. And, I'm going to promote my opinion the best I can and, try to help protect the fishery. I mean, because you can't deny it. Knowing if you're pro or against it, you can't deny it. It's harmful for the fishery. You can't deny that, 100%.
Well, it's incredibly effective. They wouldn't be arguing for it, the people want to keep it if it wasn't very effective. And I
Exactly.
don't know if you can compare it to older technologies, like they said, where the mapping units all of a sudden opened up stuff. And yeah, but I don't know that it made if it completely changed. Like now, you take the National Walleye Tour, for instance, it completely changed the top 20. Or basically, you'd have 120 boats. It changed the top 20 overnight. And I don't know that any other technology ever did that.
No, I wouldn't think so.
So, I mean,
maybe going from oars to outboard motors would be the only comparison. I don't know. I don't know, but it's like I said, I anybody that's got like an ounce of sense, if you really take a step back, whether you're for or against it, take a step back and look at it and look at what it does. I mean, it'd be hard pressed to say like, yeah, this is probably not good for the fishery. I mean, it's just a fact. It's just a fact. Even if I was for it, I would think the same thing. If I went up and if I caught like frickin', 28 muskies over 48 in a week, and I'd be like, damn, this is probably not a good thing. Don't get me wrong. It was that tempting to hear that? Was it tempting to do it? And you're fucking right, it is. But when you really take a step back and think about it, it's like, yeah, you can't, as good as it sounds, as fun as it would be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think it'd be fun, like looking at screens, driving around, not casting. It's just not something that people should be, really endorsing or doing,
Right.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it.
Right. And it's going to be like anything where you're seeing, especially in Wisconsin, you see regulations and stuff that are reactive rather than proactive.
Right.
So like anything, it would be, and the further this gets down the road, it's like the same thing. I've come around to your way of thinking. I don't want to keep you here all night, but I've come around to your way of thinking as far as being anti-crossbow. And at first I was like, and
you're using the wrong term for that. It's called a cross gun.
Well, there you go. Well, yes, a traditional archery, and obviously you can't shoot deer with a crossbow and put it into Pope and Young. It's not considered archery as far as they're concerned. And I have a non-cancerous tumor in my right shoulder. I'll never be able to pull a bow back again. I could legally use a crossbow even before it was legalized. But you look at it now, and it's like it. As far as the overall deer kill, it didn't do a whole lot. But boy, did it do a number on the trophy buck harvest in that first week of November. That's where the big change took place.
Right. Well, and if you take a step back, like why, 10 years ago, why was it illegal? Why was a crossbow illegal?
Yeah.
Simple fact, it was too effective. It was too effective for archery hunting. That's why it was illegal. It was too easy to kill a deer with it.
And look at the technology jump that happened in those 10 years when they got the Wisconsin money from crossbows to go into the development. Your crossbows now are nothing like the ones where they legalized it.
Well, and the fucking DNR lied and said, hey, we're gonna allow it for a few years and see it has an impact on hunting. And it damn well did. The buck kill per bow like quadrupled.
Right.
And they're like, we'll look at it in 3 years. Well, I looked at it like, oh no, it's fine. We're just going to keep it. And I'm not knocking kids. I'm glad kids are getting to hunting. But when you see a 6, 7, 8-year-old little boy or little girl and going out and killing a deer with a crossbow, I mean, to me that's just not it's just not right. It took me. I started hunting when I was 12. I started with a little bow and this and that. And I mean. To go sit like in a heated stand with a crossbow and, I don't even think a 7-year-old, 6-year-old, 8-year-old, whatever, really even knows, what they are, doing and the power of that weapon and, killing like a mature animal like that. You know what I mean? I think that's gotten to a point where, same thing. Is it unethical? I mean, why don't record books allow it? Well, it's unethical, so why are we allowing it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing with the kids. You get me going. It's about the money with Kevin. The crossbow is legal. I mean, why they would never go back on that?
They lobbied for it. They lobbied for it. They lobbied. I don't think it was the hunters that lobbied for it. I think it was the crossbow manufacturers that lobbied for it. And they started getting passed in one state, and they saw, oh my God, we just sold freaking 10,000 crossbows in a week. And that's what happened here too. I mean, a lot of my friends hunt with them, and it's just like, wow, this is bullshit. If that's half the joy. That's half the allure of bow hunting. is getting the hardest part of bow hunting is getting that draw on that animal.
Oh,
is
yeah.
getting that full draw back. I mean, crossbow, there's no more of that anymore. I mean, you have the thing cocked in your damn truck and you're ready to go.
Well, I mean, like I said, the two things that were the big advantage with that was, yes, no drawback. I've screwed up more, and I haven't bow hunted a lot, and I screwed up a lot of deer, busted me drawing the bow back, and then
Me too.
also 1-point aiming system. Instead of a 2-point aiming system, you've got a 1-point aiming system right there.
You got a scope on the damn thing.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's a 1-point versus your peep and your sight, and the modern compound can shoot just as far as a crossbow for the most part, but that no draw, that was the biggest deal right there, and being able to hunt.
And you got a scope that is a light emitting scope now that is legal, that has the reticle system on it where you can shoot up to 70, 75 yards. Interesting fact I learned, I went and looked at a piece of property, and the guy was a big bow hunter down in southern Wisconsin. He was also a tracker with a dog, a track wounded deer. And he said, I think over 90% of people that called him to recover an animal, they were crossbow shots and not compound shots.
Okay. You see,
whether you're for or against it, this guy never told me if you had a crossbow, if you're for or against it, never said a word about it. He was a dog tracker. And well, I'm like, oh, cool, can I have your car? He's like, oh, yeah. Now, I was, we got in conversation of bow hunting and, his dog and how he tracked it. And, I'm like, yeah. I said, you must get a lot of them down here, a lot of people. And he's like, yeah, but he goes, you'd be kind of surprised, He goes, I always thought crossbows were like more of a lethal weapon. But he said, almost all of my recoveries are a crossbow. And what it probably is, I think guys taking too far shots, guys taking, fuck you shots. Hey, I got a scope on you. I can shoot 80 yards. And I think they were wounding those animals more because they were willing to take more of a risky shot than you would with a compound, So,
well, I think there's a couple things there. Is that they're out shooting the capability of the weapon, and you've also got probably a higher percentage of novice hunters using it.
Exactly.
Or kids or people that aren't that experienced are using the crossbow. That's why I was proud of my nephew and my cousin Paul. They could be hunting with whatever they want, and they both chose to go the route of traditional bow hunting. Versus the crossbow, and for someone like me, obviously I'll shoot a crossbow. I can't pull a bow back, but anyway,
that's what they're always for. Which I tell you, I would respect for 100%. Hey, you can't pull back a bow. Oh, by all means, you should be able to use a crossbow. Right. I mean, I've never ever been against that. And even like women, some women can pull back a bow, some can. It's like I have no problem with that. And even with children using them, if they're. But to me, it's like, I think, I don't know why Wisconsin ever passed that law where, basically you're 6 months old, you could freaking kill a deer with a rifle if you want. And I just think that's like 100% wrong. I mean, I'm not trying to get kids out hunting, but I mean, come on, there's got to be some common sense behind this too. I mean, holy fuck. We couldn't wait to get out hunting, but I mean, we learned. We went with our parents when we were younger. And then, we went through hunter safety when we were 11, 12 years old before we were even able to get to hunt. And now you can have a 5-year-old shooting a weapon. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, that's insane to me. That's absolutely insane to me. Can you imagine when we were younger, if they tried to pass like something like that, it would have been riots in the streets, for God's sake. And there's only run. Oh, we want to get more people in hunting. There's no reason to get more people in hunting and fishing. There's plenty of people at hunting.
Well, that's that. Yes, that's my new philosophy. We do, and the only people that want more people into hunting are the people that are selling you the fucking gear you don't need. Yeah, here's some more. Yes, here's some new camo because your camo from 2018 isn't good enough anymore. So here's a new camo pattern, and they got to sell that shit to you. And it's the whole kids.
The DNR, the DNRs, and they're in the same fucking boat. I mean, I don't mind paying more for licenses if they need me money to help the resource. By all means, I don't give a fuck. I mean, if you got to pay $40 for a license, I'm totally cool with that. I'm not out there hunting because I need free food. That's not the reason why I hunt and fish anymore. I enjoy the sport. And if they need more money to help regulate the sport, and that's fine with me. I don't care. But to get more, to start, we want more licenses and stuff, so we're going to, allow 6-month-year-old. I mean, come on, that just doesn't make any sense. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some kids and some parents that can raise their kids where, yeah, maybe at 8 years old, they're ready to shoot a weapon. Don't get me wrong, but I'll tell you what, the majority of them, 95% of them, I would say are probably not ready to shoot something like that.
I agree.
Or much less have the respect for it to be able to understand even what the hell is going on. It's ass backwards. It just seems like everybody is against like the fish in the year. It's like, wow, let's go to war against the fish in the year. That's what it seems like where we're at right now. It's just really gotten more about money than the sport. That is really what has happened in the hunting and fishing industry. It's more about the money. Even like tournament fishing. My partner, I won't mention his name. My partner right now. It's like, oh yeah, if it wasn't for the money, I'm like, you know what? The money is it's a nice bonus, but I could give a fuck. I said, I really don't fish for the money. I don't. It's the allure of tournament fishing. It's the lure of competing. It's very exciting and adrenaline rush to catch a fish during a tournament. I'm really not thinking about the money. I mean, don't get me wrong. The money is a nice bonus and all that. And I'm very happy and glad when I win money. But I'm like, it's really not about that for me. It's really not. And I think a lot of the good tournament fishermen would say that too. It's not really about the money. Once you get into it and you've been into it for a long time, it's just the allure of the sport, but yeah, like I said, it's too bad. It seems like money's like ruining things. It's like ruining the sport of fishing and hunting, because that's what it's basically just coming down to. It's all about the money.
Oh, that's all it's about. Absolutely, 100%. And that's what drives it. And like you said, they're trying to sell you. It's all about selling product, and that's why you get the social media with the have to get your hits, have to get your photo, have to get all of that to sell product. And it's like they sold plenty of product back in the day with just magazines without this shit. So.
Oh, exactly. Well, yeah, it's like the digital creation, I think it's called. And yeah, I mean, they wonder, like, you go on for hours about, like, the workforce. They always wondered why, like, where did the workforce go? Like, we had all these kids that were working and younger kids, and they're making enough money on the internet now. They don't have to work, like, at a labor job, cooking or cleaning or building or none of that. They can go get pictures of fish, deer, put it on the internet and make money off it. They can undress themselves and take pictures of their tits and ass, and they're millionaires. And I really think that's what happened to a lot of I think a lot of the good-looking women are like, oh my God, I can get an OnlyFans page and I can show myself, and I'm making $10,000 a month. Why would you work? You know what I'm saying? Why would you even work? I mean, and that's something that, I don't know, it might have to be addressed over time. I mean, I think a lot of the labor force, that's where it ended up,
Right. And I have to I have to work more. I have to work more so I can pay my subscription to those OnlyFans sites.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But it's crazy. There was a girl just came across my Facebook page a while back. I'm not on any of that shit, but and some people are ripping on her. She made a comment. She's like, I am literally making, and she's not a very good looking girl, but she's like, I'm making like $100,000 a month. And I'm doing these little videos and, whatever the hell she's doing on there. And it's just like unbelievable. Like, holy shit, and they're just making like a killing at it, Right. And yeah, like I said, you're not only with you're seeing that with hunting and fishing too, where guys, you get enough followers on YouTube or whatever, and they start paying you, start making money at it. So now they're all gung ho, and, they're putting more pressure on their waters, on our fishery, on the resource. And, it all, like I said, what we just talked about, boils down to money. That's basically what, fishing, hunting is kind of turned into.
It's definitely not about what's best for the resource. I mean, obviously, there's no argument there. There's no argument there.
No, not anymore. Guys, back in the day when we were kids, I mean, hunting was for, when we first started hunting, 100 million %, it was for putting meat on the table. We never hunted like for big bucks. When we were, in our early teens and even through like our mid-20s, it wasn't about it. You got a big buck, that was a bonus. I mean, if you shot any deer, whether it's a buck or doe, and it was meat on the table, that's what it was for. That's what hunting was for. And even fishing when we were younger, that was the purpose of hunting and fishing was basically to put, food on the table when we were really young.
Yep.
Once you started making enough money, you didn't really need to have to rely on that resource anymore. So who knows?
All right. Thanks again, Mark, for stopping by. Great conversation, long conversation, but that's always, or more often than not, a good thing. And thank everybody for tuning in, and enjoy. And we will see you on the next one. Hoping to get one up a week. Peace.
Inside that little building, if you're going to fall off the wagon, believe me, that's the place to do it.